Coming in at number 10 is their most personal film, or most Jewish film. That is A Serious Man. This is one of the Coen Brothers movies that they don't, like, I think most of the Coen Brothers movies, there is a plot to it. But this one, I don't really think it is there isn't really a plot, but there's obviously a story about just a guy who is just going through a lot of tough things with divorce, students bribing him. This guy cannot catch a break. This movie is the definition of oy vey. And it's a decent, funny comedy that leaves you thinking about things, about, like, why does God let us go through stuff like this? And what was the ending all about? What is going on? That's what you'll basically be thinking the whole time watching this movie, and it's well done, and it's funny, and it's going to be very depressing at times to watch. So, coming at number 9 is their Palme d'Or winner, Barton Fink. Barton Fink, their first Roger Deakins collaboration, like I've said before, looks really good, and it's just a very dark comedy story about this writer who mainly writes for the stage, coming to the Hollywood system and just seeing how terrible it is, and just how commercial it is, and how disinterested it truly is in, like, good art and storytelling. Because the movie, it's about this guy who was hired to write a wrestling picture, and they basically tell him, write it like how other wrestling movies are. Kind of sounds familiar to a film genre that is happening, that is a thing right now, that studios probably tell filmmakers writers all the time how it should be written. So it's a movie that is still, like, it takes place in the 40s, but it's still kind of relevant to how studio systems kind of work today, with how they want their scripts written, and how the writers are treated, and just how writers kind of just fall because of it. It's just a guy going to Hollywood and just seeing the true darkness of it all, and just great performances by the two Johns, John Turturro, John Goodman, Michael Lerner, Tony Shalhoub, and the writer that Barton likes, and the assistant that he abuses. They're good performers, and this movie just makes you want to, like, take a shower after it, because it just feels like nothing but sweat throughout it all. So coming into number 8 is probably the most underrated film of all time, and that is The Man Who Wasn't There. This movie went really under the radar. Didn't do so well at the box office. Maybe that's because the whole thing was very confusing, because it's like I don't want to say it's neo-noir, because neo-noir would be like Blade Runner or just like a modern day, but, like, this is a total noir, because I think it takes place in that time period, and I think it plays out like a noir, where a character gets into trouble with the law and has to learn and deal with the consequences of his actions at the end. And that's what the character has to do, because he just deep is a man who just doesn't think his life is really fulfilled or successful, because he's just a barber who people don't pay any mind to. And he gets into all these mishaps with, like, James Gandolfini. And it's definitely it's a very tragic film, and it's a brilliant film to watch. And Billy Bob Thornton gives a really great performance with Frances McDormand. George Nelson from Oh Brother Bertha. Oh God, I'm sorry, I forgot the guy's name. And James Gandolfini, Richard Jenkins, and a still pre-Lost in Translation ScarJo, really good in it, even though there was some creepy stuff with that. But I still think it was a really good, fun noir to watch. So coming in number 7 is their film that flopped even harder than The Man Who Wasn't There, and that is The Hudsucker Proxy, their biggest bomb, and I want to say their most expensive film, because, I mean, this movie looks expensive, and it looks great. The money definitely went to good use in this. And this was also, and I know I've said before, there's a lot of Sam Raimi stuff, and this was their first writing collaboration with Sam Raimi since the movie Crime Waves, 1985, which nobody really likes. But it's still a really good movie, and Sam Raimi did have some directing in it with some of the second unit stuff. He famously directed the hula hoop scene, which is a really great sequence. So it's a great collaboration of just of these three highly talented directors. Well, it's still kind of confusing if what Ethan was really doing. Because it's still this is when Joel was just the credit director, because it was not until Lady Killers when Ethan was finally credited as a director. But still, just these three minds coming together to make a really entertaining story about the American capitalist system and how it can kind of ruin people, but at the end of the day, people can truly succeed in this business if they put their heart and soul into it. And I really like the performances by Tim Robbins, who, it's kind of funny how he made he was in another movie that same year with Roger Deakins that also didn't do so well at the box office. Jennifer Jason Leigh gives off one of her best performances as this comedic role. Paul Newman is also really good in it. Charles Durning is really good, even though he's barely in it, but his scene at the end is good. Bill Cobbs is fun as this clock worker who basically controls time, and Bruce Campbell is also fun as the rival photographer in the scene. So, and I really wish the Coens would use Bruce Campbell more in their films. I really wish he was in Lebowski and Oh Brother Where Art Thou, because he would have fit perfectly into these movies. And so this is all we really got right now as Bruce Campbell, not as an extra in Intolerable Cruelty or The Lady Killers. This was Bruce Campbell as an actual character with lines. And that's Hudsucker Proxy, really great. And I love the production design. I wish recently we had Poor Things, which was more Victorian, but I really wish we can have another film that goes back to the 40s, 50s, or 30s, America Art Deco look from films like this and the first two Batman films, because oh man, I really want to see good model work like this, and we hardly ever get this. So coming in at number 6 is Burn After Reading. As we get into more this is when we're really getting to my favorite Coen Brothers films, and I really like Burn After Reading. It's just a fun, simplistic, small comedy about these people who get into all these weird mishaps and blackmail and just bunch of wacky performances from Clooney, Frances McDormand, John Malkovich, who's so funny as he keeps saying my memoir, and Tilda Swinton's really funny, and he's not in it that much, but Brad Pitt scenes are very, very fun to watch. Him watching, it's all fun to watch, and it's a movie that can be confusing, but it's still entertaining to watch, and that's the whole point. Is that the whole thing is confusing because it's also stupid at the end. There's no big threat. There's no huge consequences. It's just a bunch of people who don't understand what the hell is going on, and so they think that they could just try to use these mishaps as a way to make their lives better. And this is definitely this is because this Fargo, the only movies where McDormand is the lead, and I think she was also really good, and I think she should have been up for some Golden Globe and Oscars for this. And so everyone else, especially, and John Malkovich also should have gotten a supporting actor. It's a crazy movie to watch. So coming in number 5 is Inside Llewyn Davis. Inside Llewyn Davis is another, like A Serious Man and Barton Fink, it's another character study of theirs, as it's a deep dive into the life of a musician in Greenwich Village who's trying to make it big as like a folk singer, and is really not getting anywhere. He's also like trying to get over the death of his friend, and he's trying to get an abortion for his secret lover of Justin Timberlake. It's a movie that's it's one of their less crazy movies, but at the same time it does feel very crazy at times. I mean, like, you got like John Goodman as this like jazz player, or like he plays like the trumpet or something, and he's got like Garrett Hedlund from Tron Legacy as like his chauffeur, and that's my favorite part of the movie. It's just when Llewyn Davis is just in that car with those two. It just fits perfectly with this like guy who's just going through all these like weird moments in a week, and the music is really good. I love the soundtrack. I've listened to the soundtrack for like over a year now since I've seen it, and it's very beautiful and sad, and it's everything that I like in a song, in songs and soundtracks sometimes. And I think the performance is good. I think this is Oscar Isaac's like best performance he's ever given. Carey Mulligan's, I think this is one of her best performances. She's really funny and yet very like sad in this. Justin Timberlake, he's not in it that much. Like this is not as good as his performances in The Social Network, which is like, you know, which was a great performance. And this, he's not in it that much, but he's still like fun. And I really do like the Please Mr. Kennedy song that he sings. Adam Driver, he makes an appearance. He's fun. I already said my thoughts about John Goodman, Garrett Hedlund. F. Murray Abraham as like a very like fun little scene. Everyone gets a shining moment, and it's just a great film that takes you inside a folk singer just trying to make it big and accepting his failures. So coming in at number 4 is Hail Caesar. So this is a Coen Brothers movie that, when I looked up, it did well. It did well financially. Critics liked it, but I think today a lot of people don't seem to really, unfortunately, like it. Like, I have a friend who is big into No Country for Old Men and Coen Brothers stuff, but he really doesn't like this movie. I've only met like one person in my life who actually likes this movie, and I think the biggest issue with Hail Caesar was within its marketing, because I think the marketing made it out to seem like it was a film about George Clooney as this actor who gets kidnapped and Josh Brolin's mission to find him. But that's not really what it's about. I mean, that is a part of the movie. Like, it's George Clooney does get kidnapped, and it is a part of the movie. But that's not but that's like part of the movie. The movie is just about this producer, fixer, played by Josh Brolin, who helps around the studio. He listens to his boss, who tries to stay faithful to the Lord. And he's got to do all this stuff during the day, like trying to find George Clooney. He's got to help shape this like upcoming cowboy star's appearance in Hollywood by putting him in this like drama by Ray Fiennes, who he hates that he's in it. He's trying to like set him up with this like this woman, and then also he's got to deal with like Scarlett Johansson, who's like has to fix her appearance as like because she's like expecting a baby and she's not married, so he's got to figure that out, and also he's got this proposal that to work for a TV network because this is like in the 50s, and this is in that era where people are thinking like, well, how can movies like still how could the movie theaters and cinema still exist with like the idea of like people can just now watch stuff at home on a box, and is cinema still the future? And we're still kind of contemplating that idea now, because Netflix and like Hulu, these studios have a lot more, TV. There's more money now putting into these more like TV projects, and the idea of the theater is almost as it day by day, it does become it is kind of becoming a bygone era in a way. So it is still something that we're facing, and it's about Josh Brolin's character, Eddie Mannix, who has to make the decision of, does he want to stay in this film business or move on? And the movie's all about staying faithful to God and the studio system, and basically life at the end of the day will work out. And I gotta say, this is a little off topic, but I really do think Hail Caesar was like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Babylon. I think, to me, like, I would have to go deeper into this in a future video, but like it's a trilogy of these films that are made, around like close together about old Hollywood, eras in old Hollywood during the 1900s, and the people who, like what those times had to meet in expectations and standards, and the people who were making the films at the time. And it's there, and I think I love all three of these films, and Hail Caesar was a great kickoff, and it tells a really good story, and the actors are all really great in it. Josh Brolin, George Clooney, Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum has an excellent dance scene that I love. Ray Fiennes, Alden Ehrenreich, an actor who's very underrated, and I feel like it's like this Solo is like big studio movies, and like I know he's in Oppenheimer, but that was like only like a small scene, and he's only in like a room. So I wish to see Alden Ehrenreich in more stuff. And damn, bro, I know I said No Country, but this might be my favorite, by Roger Deakins, because just the look of this movie, at times it does feel like a huge Technicolor 50s extravaganza film. It's just well done, Roger, and well done to all the production designers and effects workers that went into this movie, because it is gorgeous and just such a fun movie to watch. So coming in at number 3 is Fargo. As I keep going down, I really just I don't want to say much about these next 3, because it's just, I think so much has been said about it. Fargo is just amazing. It's one of the best dark comedies of all time, maybe the best dark comedy of all time. The performances are great from William H. Macy, Steve Buscemi, Peter Stormare, the father-in-law, and the guy works for him, Stephen Park, and Frances McDormand. It's one of the well-deserved Oscars. This rarely ever, I feel like, happens when it does happen with I think it does happen with supporting actor awards, but when it comes to best actor, best actress, they always go for the dramatic ones. But I liked how the Oscars gave it to a comedic performance, and it rarely ever happens. And so I'm really happy that McDormand got that award. And McDormand is my favorite actress of all time, or favorite actress working in Hollywood right now. She is just amazing at what she does, and I love her in this movie. She is so funny, and the accents are great. The story is great. It's just, I can't say much. Enough has been said about Fargo. It's a fun movie. I like all the fake stuff about it, the fake editor behind it, the fake true story. It was definitely inspired. It was inspired by things. I love it all. You cannot have me stop Fargo. Coming in at number 2 is The Big Lebowski. I know this should be a number 1, but I'll give my reason. But I really do love The Big Lebowski. I love these 3 movies. I love. They're basically my number 1. They all both have great characters, great direction from the Coen brothers, and this definitely has the funniest plot. It's this guy who just has the same name as this billionaire who just gets hired to do this job just because of the name, as a a fence or something, and he just gets all into these wacky hijinks. Like, everyone is just so fucking funny in this movie. Jeff Bridges is great. He's so funny. John Goodman should have gotten Best Supporting Actor for this film. Julianne Moore, Charles Durning is funny. Steve Buscemi gives like a fun straight performance in this. Peter Stormare is also great, and like how they calls back to Fargo by him actually getting pancakes in this movie, and Tyra Banks is funny, has a funny part. Philip Seymour Hoffman's has a funny part. Ares, I forgot how to say the actor's name. Ares from Wonder Woman has a small role. He's funny. The Private Eye guy, who has been in a lot of their movies. Everyone is so funny. This movie is just perfect. It's one of the best comedies to watch and just laugh at. Just nothing can come close to it. And I'm trying to see if I can incorporate any joke about the Jesus rolls, but no. We'll talk about the movie some other day. But Big Lebowski, it's amazing. Watch it right now. And so, my number one favorite Coen Brothers movie. Yes, you probably know what it is, because if you've been watching all this, you know there's only one more. Oh, brother, where art thou? Why is it here? Again, to me, Fargo, Lebowski, this, I think they are, they're my top three. They are truly just both my favorite. They can go either way, but I lean more towards Oh Brother Where Art Thou because it's a good story and it's an adaptation of a Greek mythology, and I think it's translated well into late 1930s Mississippi, Great Depression era, and it all works great, and how it tells the story about a guy who's not. This is like Hail Caesar. It's about a guy, but it's more about like this guy who isn't so faithful at all to God, and is more about like modern day science and stuff. But he learns how if he's more faithful to old tradition, if you're still faithful to old traditions of life, you'll still live a more happy, blessed life. And like Fargo and Lebowski, they're still just a bunch of fun characters in there. George Clooney as the Odysseus lead of it all. John Turturro, Tim Blake Nelson as his his crewmates through it all. They give so much funny performances in this. John Goodman gives a very fun yet terrifying performance. Holly Hunter's funny. The actor that plays the suitor, I think, is really funny. Charles Durning, again, is hilarious. The actor that plays Homer Stokes is hilarious. Mr. Kruger from Seinfeld as the evil warden who is basically Poseidon gives such a terrifying performance in this creepy warden. Holy shit, this movie is so insane. And I also got to mention how this movie the fact that this movie has this is kind of what started the artificial color grading in films, and we still kind of use it today with digital. So Oh Brother Where Art Thou is really underappreciated today with how what it did for film. And God, I think this really should have been Roger Deakins win, because I know Blade Runner 2049, 1917 were really good, but I think we need to give Oh Brother Where Art Thou more credit for what it does for cinema with its techniques. But yeah, overall, it's just such a fun movie. It's the Coen brothers at their peak. It's their it's a movie everyone can just watch it and enjoy, and just listen to great music, watch all these fun characters, and just watch all the fun filmmaking of it all. It's what I love about the Coen brothers. They love cinema. they love to just entertain you to death with their films and just leave you wanting more from them. And it's good to see that they're coming back with a horror film. And even if they're not making films together, I will still go out of my way to see anything that's made by them. I will still see, I'm still going to watch this lesbian movie, this lesbian trilogy by Ethan Coen. You know, if it's just by him, it's still going to be fun as hell. And the Coens they're just one of the best filmmakers of all time. Everything that they made is great. And I definitely encourage you, if you are, someone who loves movies, continue to watch their more movies. That's what I would tell my, my past self from, 8th grade. To keep going with these people. Keep watching their movies and just see how you can always apply their methods of storytelling into your own films. So go out, watch a Coen Brothers movie. You will, and they will always stay with you.